Greetings, this is the Crunchy Vet, and I will be picking up where we last left off in this series. So this will be part 3 of What If Female Deku Was Dark Samus. Now, I believe where we last left off, Izumi and Mirko had just had their first kiss. So I'll be skipping forward a couple months to the UA entrance exam. So give me a sec to do something and then we'll get right to that. Alright, now we shall continue. So it's the day of the entrance exam, as Izumi would begin to walk in to the exam area, as she would partake in the written exam, as she would score in the top 5. I'll say she got 3rd place. Yeah. She got 3rd place, and everybody else had their placements as they didn't canon. As we then move on to the physical portion of the entrance exam, as President Mike is talking about the different robots, so like the 1-pointers and the 2-pointers and the 3-pointers, as he was about to explain the 0-pointer when Ida would stand up, as he would say, excuse me, I'm Tony Ida from... I actually can't remember Ida's private school for the life of me, so please do forgive me. As he would say, you've spoken about 3 robots, but there appear to be 4 robots on this sheet of paper, and if this is an oversight by UA, I'm very disappointed. As Izumi would not step in, she'd just be listening to this. As President Mike would say, actually, young listener, I was just about to get on to the 0-pointer. As Ida would sit down and be very embarrassed from that. As President Mike would then explain the 0-pointer. As he would say, sorry about that, I'm fairly tired right now. As President Mike would say, Now, you listeners, I do wish you the best of luck on the physical exam. And I do hope to see some of you in UA in the future. As we then get to the gate, where Izumi is basically doing her stretches, as she notices a brown-haired girl, looking very tense, as she would walk over to her, as she would feel somebody grab onto her shoulder, as she would then as she turned around and see that it's Ida, as he'd say, why are you walking over to that girl? Are you going to distract her? As Izumi would say in a sarcastic tone, oh yeah, sure, I'm going to sabotage somebody from getting into a school of their dreams. Yeah, sure, I am that type of person. As Ida would think she was being truthful, as Ida would say, I'm very disappointed in you. If you're wanting to be a hero, then you shouldn't be sabotaging people like this. As Izumi would say, I'm being sarcastic, dumbass. As she would say, now if you excuse me, I'm going to go and help this person calm down, and if you get in my way again, there won't be anything left of you for the police to find. as Izumi would walk over, as she'd ask, "Hey, are you okay?" As the girl would say, "Yeah, I'm fine." As she would then say, "Good, anyway, what's your name?" As the girl would say that her name was Ochako or Araka. As Izumi would say, "Ochako, huh? That's a very nice name." Now, you don't have to worry about this. Just get as many points as you can, and then you'll get in. So I do hope for the best for you. As Uraraka would say, "Thank you very much." As President Mike would begin his countdown. As just as President Mike gets to 1, Izumi then dashes forward into the arena. As everybody's shouting out, saying, "Hey, she's cheating, she should be disqualified from the exam." As President Mike would then say, there's no countdown in a villain attack. Follow that girl's lead and go." As Izumi is basically dealing with these robots, as she's already taken out a few 1-pointers, 2-pointers, and 3-pointers, as she does have the armor shifted over her body. As a lot of the teachers are impressed by her skill. As, sorry about that. As some of the teachers would ask, what is her name? As Nezu would then pull out the file on her, as he'd say, it appears her name is Izumi Hado. As one of the teachers would say, "Oh, so she's related to to Nejire Hado." Now I'm going to say that she's still in second year. No, she's in third year. Yeah, she would be in third year at this time. As Nezu would say, it appears so. And I'm wondering why she's taking the basic entrance exam course instead of the give me a sec. Instead of the I forgot the name. Oh yeah, the suggestions exam. As she as they would then continue watching her as she's basically blasting these the pointer robots to pieces. As she would think to herself, these don't provide much of a challenge, and this is supposed to be the hardest exam in the country. Damn, I'm very powerful, or these robots are very weak. As Neze would say, I think it's time that we release the 0-pointer. As Nezu would then press a big red button next to him, as the 0-pointer would be released. As Izumi would feel some rumbling, as she would look over and see people running from the 0-pointer that's approaching them. As Izumi would think to herself, now this is more of a challenge. As Izumi would then say, but I'm already tired enough, so I don't feel like facing it today. As she would then hear a call for help, as she'd see that Uraraka was trapped underneath the rubble. As Izumi would then say, well, but might as well go and help him. As she would then dash towards Uraraka and help her out of the rubble, and realizes that she probably won't be able to get Uraraka and herself out in time. So she decides to pick Uraraka up, toss her over, and then start charging up a blast from her arm cannon. as the zero pointer would then crash down onto her as she is charging it. As everybody in the exam is basically panicking, the teachers are panicking until they see until Nezu looks at his control pad for the monitor for the zero pointer, as he would notice that the hand, one of the hands, is gaining heat, like is heating up. As Nezu would bring this up to the other staff, as just as he does, a laser shoots from the zero pointer's hand right into its head, basically obliterating it. As the zero pointer would then fall backwards, as Izumi would stand up without a scratch on her. As there would be some dust on her, or she would just swipe it off from her armor. And she'd say, "Ah, that's a shame. I actually thought that thing would actually hurt me. Guess not." As she'd then continue walking, as she'd help up Uraraka and ask, just as she was about to ask her if she was okay, the timer runs out for the entrance exam. As President Mike would come over the announcement saying that the exam is over and they will get their acceptance letters to UA in a week's time. And if they did not get their acceptance letter, then better luck next time. As Izumi would help Uraraka over to Recovery Girl, as the Recovery Girl would heal Uraraka, as Izumi would then begin to head out of UA, where she then runs into Mirako, as now they do have like a nickname for each other. So for Mirako, it's Izumi calls Mirako my white rabbit, and Mirako calls Izumi Blueberry, because I know blueberries are purple, but just I can't think of anything that's naturally blue, so blueberries are the closest thing. So Mirako calls Izumi Blueberry, as Mirako would then ask, "How's the entrance exam, Blueberry?" As Izumi would say, "It was not much of a challenge, but it could have been more It was not much of a challenge. I just wish it was more difficult." As Mirako would then say, "Well, they gotta at least give some people a chance. If it was too hard, then UA would basically be impossible to get into." Sorry about that. As Izumi would say, "Yeah, you're right. Everyone else has got to get a fair chance." But anyway, I should be getting my acceptance letter in a week. I think I have enough points to pass. As Mirako would say, "Well, judging by the looks on all the staff's faces, you appear to have gotten the highest score there." As Izumi would say, "I imagine they would have been pretty shocked to find out that I wasn't killed by that zero pointer." As Mirako would say, "Yeah, I was there. This is going to be a bit different from the original timeline. So Mirako will be working at UA. I don't know what role she will take in UA, so you guys get to decide that. I'm thinking like she might be a teacher. Yeah, she'll be a teacher. Scratch that. She'll be a teacher." As Izumi would say, "Well then, I'm guessing you're applying to work at UA then." As Mirako would say, "Yeah, I'm actually going to become a teacher there." As Izumi would say, "Why is this? Aw, you really care about my safety that much?" As Mirako would say, "Yeah, I do. you're my girlfriend. Why wouldn't I worry about your safety? As Izumi would sort of like put her hand to her chest, almost like touch. She'd say, "Aw, so my white rabbit does have some soft spots." As Mirko would say, "Shh, okay, come on, we can keep. Okay, come on, we can keep talking about this when we get home." As Izumi would say, "Yeah, okay, let's get going." As we then cut to about a week later, where Izumi gets her entrance exam, where she gets her acceptance letter to UA, as it would say that she passed the entrance exam with flying colors and managed to beat All Might's record, as she'd then be put into class 1A. As Mirko and Izumi and Nejire are very happy for this, as we then cut to Izumi's first day in UA. As Izumi would then be headed to UA, Mirko would say, "Hey, how about I drop you off? I mean, I'm already going there anyways." As Izumi would say, "Yeah, that'd be nice." As Izumi would then get into Mirko's car, as they would then drive to UA. As Mirko would say, "So, what do you think you'll be doing on the first day?" As Izumi would say, "Well, in Class 1A, I did some research, and Class 1A is being taught by Eraserhead, or Shota Aizawa. And seeing his track record of expelling entire classes, he would probably have us do some kind of test on the first day. And knowing him using logical ruses, he'll probably trick us into working at our best at 100%. As Mirko would say, "You are actually terrifying when you're looking at this stuff. You know that?" As Izumi would say, "Well, I like to keep tabs on everything, okay?" As Mirko would say, "Well, we're almost here. We're almost at UA, so we might as well. Well, you might as well. Do you want to walk the rest of the way, or do you want me to continue driving you off to drop you off there?" As Izumi would say, "I think it'd be best if you drop me off here. We don't want people getting jealous that I'm in the relationship with the number." I think Mirko was the number 5 here at that time. Yeah, I think Mirko was number 5. As Mirko would say, as Izumi would say, we don't want people knowing that I'm dating the number 5 pro hero. As Mirko would say, "Yeah, you're right. Anyway, see ya." As Izumi would say, "Yeah, see ya." As she would then kiss Mirko, as she would get out of the car and walk the rest of the way. With Izumi then headed into UA and looking for Class 1A, which she would find. As her not running late, she would notice Aizawa. She would sense his presence, but pretend like she didn't know he was there. As she would then head to her desk and then sit down. As everybody else would arrive at UA, the rest of Class 1A, as they would then begin to introduce themselves to each other, as we then get to... Sorry about that. As we then get to the beginning of the class, as Aizawa would rise up... Sorry about that voice crack. As Aizawa would rise up, as he would say, "Greetings, I'm Aizawa, and I'll be your substitute teacher." As... No, not substitute teacher. Their homeroom teacher. God, I'm doing the high school DX, focusing on too much on high school DxD. Anyways, continuing with even with Aizawa saying, "It all took you 10 seconds to shut up. That's no good. That's no good, except for her," as he would point towards Izumi. as you'd see, she's been quiet the entire time. So today you'll all be doing a physical test to see if you're worthy of being Class 1A. As Uraraka would stand up and ask, what about orientation? With Aizawa saying, you're Class 1A, you don't have any time for that. Now come on, follow me. As they would begin to follow Aizawa, with Izumi, actually Aizawa pulling out, with Aizawa saying, now the gym uniform's already in there, so go in and get changed and meet me on the field. As while Izumi was getting changed, she noticed a little peephole as she could hear Mineta saying White and Canon about the hole, as Izumi would say, hey, Jiro. No, she doesn't know. Yeah, she would know Jiro. She should say, hey, Jiro, come here. As Jiro would say, what is it? With Izumi saying, that little purple dude with the balls on his head, I think he's about to perv on us. So send one of your ear jacks through the hole to get him. As just as Mineta was about to perv on the girls, he's then stabbed in the eye by Jiro's earphone jacks. With that girls hearing it, as it would then continue on with getting changed. As they would all meet out on the field, as by Izumi getting first place on the entrance exam. Sorry about that. She would then have the ball tossed past to her, as I would say, you got first place on the entrance exam. As Bakugo would yell, what? How did this bitch get higher score than me? As Izumi would then say, well, it's probably because most of us aren't egotistical narcissists who don't realize their own weaknesses when they see it. Now, if you excuse me, I got this to win. As she'd then walk up to the circle, as Aizawa would then ask, how far could you throw the ball in middle school without using your quirk? As Izumi would say, I'd say around 78 meters. As Aizawa would say, alright, now use that with your quirk. As Izumi would say, okay. As she would then manifest the arm cannon onto her hand, as she'd then place the ball into it, as she would then point into the sky and then fire it, where the force from it was basically so powerful that it sent the ball into orbit, with Aizawa's reading infinity, as Uraraka would pipe up and say, this is going to be so fun, we get to use our quirks during this as well. As Aizawa would say, oh, so you think this is going to be fun, huh? Well then, let's raise the stakes. The first person to get last will be expelled from UA. As everybody but Izumi would pipe up and say, what? That's not fair. As I would then say, fair? Do you think the world is fair? No, it isn't. Natural disasters and all that aren't fair. Now, let's go on with these tests. As Izumi would score pretty high in a lot of them, and the one that she got... Sorry about that. The one she got high scores on would be the grip strength, the long jump, not the long jump, I think it was the 20-meter dash, and the side-to-side jumps. Everything else she scored second place in. As everybody would look at the scoreboard and see that Izumi was in first place, followed by Shoto, then Momo, and then everyone else. as as the person in last place would be Toru, as she's panicking, thinking she'll be expelled, as Aizawa would then say, "Oh, and about the expelling thing, I lied. It was all a logical ruse." As everybody would have freaked out about nothing, apart from Momo and Izumi, with Momo saying, "To be honest, I knew about this in the beginning. I probably should have said something." With Izumi saying, "Yeah, me too. Probably should have said something, but I just didn't really feel like it." As they would then head back to class. And that is where I'm going to leave this part off. I do hope you all enjoy it. I will see you all next time. Ta-ta.